Part
after that
3.
bit of mental retardation, we're back with episode 2 of Hotline Miami. And we're back with another interlude where where our mental images are telling us, "Hey, you're bad for doing all this bad stuff." Except for Richard, where he's just like, "I'm not going to give you any answers. I'm just going to give you questions."
But you can't answer a question with a question.
True. But there's one thing I forgot to mention about this game. This game was inspired by the movie Drive, that Jake Gyllenhaal movie. I've never seen it. All I know is that Jake Gyllenhaal by day is a stunt driver, and then by night he freaking acts as a getaway driver. That's the only thing I know about Drive.
I've not heard of it before.
And from right, it actually did pretty well at the box office, and it was highly rated.
Man, it was only like 20 minutes ago, but the music's already hitting me again. It's like, dang, this is good.
Push It has the loudest track in the game. Like, it is louder than the actual level. Also, this is where the levels start to become super annoying, because one of the biggest flaws in Hotline Miami is big rooms. Big rooms are the worst.
Wait, is the screen rotating?
No.
Are you sure?
My biggest problem with... I'm sure. Well, it's bobbing and weaving from side to side.
Okay, so I think the YouTube versions went through and auto-corrected the vibrations.
The bob and weave? But my biggest problem with Hotline Miami is big rooms, because big rooms mean enemies can see you from miles away and you won't know anything.
What kind of game of... what the...
I call that bit Looney Tunes because it was so dumb, and I was just like, this is the run where I actually get past this part of the stage. Like, the problem with big rooms is that you see that there are windows in stages, and enemies can see you through windows, but you can also shoot through windows. Yeah. The problem comes when enemies can see you through multiple windows. When enemies see you from multiple windows, the AI freaks out when the enemy sees you from multiple windows.
Yeah.
Like, it bugs out a little bit. But you can tell that because this room is so big, I'm getting shot from off-screen, and I'm just like, why, though? Yeah, there's about,
like far off-screen, like zoom out?
I
think I've seen you do that.
If you hold shift, you can zoom to see farther in the room, but the fact is that's only useful if you turtle. Because if you don't turtle, well, you don't know that there's enemies further in the room until you get shot by one.
I feel like the best strategy there at the beginning would just be to shoot a gun and drag them all down the hallway. Or does the music actually interfere with your gunshots?
They don't.
Okay.
But the fact is that you have
thing to add.
So this is where I'm switching over to a melee. This is where I'm switching over to a melee weapon because I don't want to use a gun because I'll track everyone into one room and that's no good. There's the return of the katana weapon in that room, but I didn't pick it up because there's windows in that middle section, so enemies can see you from across the room. But that's one of my major flaws.
So there's the zoom out.
This is one of my major flaws with the Hotline Miami series. The other one is the masks and what I like to call useless and random gameplay mechanics that just don't work. When I talk about Hotline Miami 2, I'll go into the different gameplay mechanics. But for right now, I'll just mention the masks. There are a lot of masks in this game that are completely useless because they don't do anything good.
Like what?
Like your standard.
I don't guess at any point you go in through and show what each one does, do you?
No, I only stick with 2 or 3.
Okay, will you give an example of the dumb ones?
There's 2 masks that allow you to take on multiple shots, meaning there's one mask where you can get shot twice, and there's another mask that allows you to get shot 3 times. Both of those are glitched where you will still die if you get shot once. There's one mask that makes the you know how the room is all lit up and you can see where you are? Yeah, that doesn't happen, where you're in total darkness. Yeah. There's one mask that only gives you a power drill that doesn't actually kill enemies, but it gives you a higher combo score. Tony is the most useless mask because you can't pick up weapons and you have to use your fists, so you're basically down to just turtling enemies, but you can kill any enemy in the game with just punching them out.
Wait, you can't pick up weapons as Tony?
You can't pick up weapons as Tony, and I'll mention that later when I talk about Hotline Miami 2.
Man, that's like hard mode.
Because It is. Like, there's a reason why I don't like using Tony. He's also a tiger. Gee, I wonder what it's a reference to.
Of course.
Also, this is where big rooms can go. This is one of the levels where big rooms can go eat it.
Why don't you just lure him? Wait, you don't have a gun though.
No.
It's a shame you don't like start with one.
Well, there's certain masks that you can use that can start you off with a gun.
What kind of? I don't even know what that was.
I said my inner. That is a Xavier Renegade Angel. It's a CGI cartoon that was on Adult Swim. But this is one of the rooms that that can eat it, because that dog up there can see you from a mile away, and it's just like, oh. And because dogs run faster, that dog can maul you.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I shouldn't have gotten out of bed today. Yeah, this is where I'm trying to use the knife so I can get the knife kill. So I don't have to worry about the other guy, so I can just throw the melee weapon at him and just knock him out.
Well, you got him.
Of course, this is a very different level, because once you get to the halfway point of the level,
what kind of? They didn't see you.
The level appears. The level starts going on a timer because you hear cop sirens in the background. Once you get to a certain time point, or if you kill enough enemies, the cops will show up and you have to leave the building.
Like, will they come in and you have to fight the cops, or how does that work?
You can't kill the cops, but the cops can kill you.
So it's basically just like you gotta not.
You can complete
while you finish.
You can complete. Yeah, you can complete the level by killing all the enemies, but if you waste enough time or kill enough enemies, the cops will show up. Like, now I can leave because I've wasted enough time. Also, don't stand in that light, otherwise a sniper will just shoot your head off.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can shoot
wow,
the cops.
They don't even think to like stop the car. Are you serious?
Nope. Cops are kind of stupid in this series, but then again, it is the 80s.
Okay, real quick. So we saw the end screen there. There was things like double exposure, sharpshooter. Do you know what triggers those?
Not really. That's because I generally don't go for combos or high scores. I just try and finish the level. It's because I'm a scroob. But as you can tell, our own reality is starting to blend in with our own mental sickness because we're seeing things that aren't there. Such as how we saw a biker dead in the convenience store, and now we're seeing Russians with no jaws and dogs that are missing skin.
So is that because we're killing so many people, we're going crazy?
In a way, you can't.
Whoa, what is up with these masks?
Yeah, each mask does something different.
Yeah, but I didn't see any of those bottom masks before.
The only one that's really useful in those bottom masks is, I can't remember the name. I think it might be Richter, because you start off with a silenced Uzi. But again, I prefer Rick because straight shots. I like where my shots, when I point wherever, that's where my shots should go. I don't want to deal with freaking recoil. This is another one where it's a big room, but you can get enemies towards you just by shooting walls and stuff, because the AI is not that bright in this game.
So just curious, is Hotline Miami a single player only?
Single player game?
Yeah, only? Does it have like multiplayer any type?
Hotline Miami 2 has level builders, though, and workshop stuff for Steam. So you can build custom-made levels. This is another room where I switched over to a melee weapon because I don't want to shoot my gun and have to deal with the guys in the next room. Also, randomly sometimes you'll survive getting shot, but it's random, and I don't know what really triggers it. Where you'll get shot and your character will start bleeding, but you won't die.
It's just better to be
like,
safe.
I don't know. Yeah. Like, it's better not to trust the luck. Making sure I switch over to the 6-shot shotgun compared to the double barrel because I like having 6 shots instead of 2. I will say another thing that I don't kind of like in this game is it's hard to tell what's considered underneath your character, meaning your shots will go through them, or what's considered on the same level as your character, meaning you don't know if your shots will go through or not. Like those bathtubs, you don't know if you can shoot through them or not if they're low enough. Like there's some things where you think I should be able to shoot over it, but it's like, nah. Yeah, I hate this room because there's a guy with a shotgun and a guy with an assault rifle. And I'm going in with a knife.
Well, he had every opportunity to shoot you too.
The return of the big enemies. I hate those big enemies.
Can you melee
I'll hate
big
on
enemy?
No, unless you're Tony.
Okay.
Big enemies, like dogs, are immune to fists, but big guys are also immune to melee weapons, unlike dogs. It's better just to shoot them with the shotgun.
Well, there's a shotgun. There you go.
Yeah, but I'm also trying not to get shot by the dude in the other side of the room. And that's again, if you shoot a big enemy, their health starts draining, so you can technically just shoot them once and then just let them fall down. So you can time combos if you want to.
Are combos also, based off like links? Like you have to do it within a certain amount of time?
Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, if you play faster, you can get quick combos and whatnot.
So that would not benefit me at all, because I'm usually very slow when I play games. I like to think.
Again, that's the reason why I'm a turtle player. This is the room that I hate the most, because this room is super big and there's about a few guys off screen that'll just run up and just hit you. I'll mention this in the next part when I talk about Hotline Miami 2, because Hotline Miami 2 has this as one of their big problems. So if you go into this room with a gun, guess what? You're going to attract every enemy in the stage. And there's 2 dogs here.
Dang, them things do run quick.
So if you shoot and the dog sees you and you don't have ammo in your gun, or if you don't have a melee weapon, guess what? The dog's going to kill you. See, you see how that enemy walked out of the door, by the way? How he opened that door for where that other guy is? Yeah. That was not supposed to happen. The AI can sometimes be random, where it just does stuff that it shouldn't do. But that is one of my least favorite levels because of that room right there, because that room is too big for its own good.
So,
which is a problem that Hotline Miami 2 has.
Would you say the hardest levels in the game are usually the bigger ones?
Like yes, the hardest levels in the game are big rooms, because big rooms are, you'll generally have a lot of enemies in there, and there'll be enemies that can see you from way across the room, and you can't tell where they're coming from. Yeah, this is where our own mental psyche is breaking down, so we're seeing dudes that we already killed. I also like how this guy's having trouble. I also like how that guy that gave us the mission had trouble hanging up.
Must be drunk or something.
True.
Recklessness is rewarded. Tip.
This is another stage where it can be a bit annoying too.
Man, I'm liking all these cool looking masks. Alright, so what mask did you pick here?
Dennis. Dennis, you start off with a knife. The reason why I started off with a knife is because there's a silenced pistol you can pick up, but I don't trust the silenced pistol because sometimes it doesn't kill when you shoot an enemy, so you have to shoot an enemy twice.
And I'm guessing if you shoot them with a silencer, they're still going to be, like, alerted. As one should be when they get shot.
Like, sometimes it's just better just to use a melee weapon. This is another room where enemies can see you from right across the stage, and you have to deal with windows.
One thing I do really like, though, is the light and color scheme. They do a good job of making everything neon in theme.
It's very 80s-esque.
Holy crap, the accuracy there.
That's because I was standing right in front of the door. The door was blocking my shots.
Oh, okay.
Doors are annoying like that. Doors can block shots, and it's like, okay, I don't want my shot to be blocked. I will say there are 2 silenced pistols in this whole entire level, and I'm using the first one from the first stage. They give you a silenced pistol at the start of this second part of the stage, and that's what I'm using.
I'm guessing the recoil isn't really going to affect you. Oh, Unless you use something like a machine gun, right?
Yeah, you can tell that the shots waver. Hey, I went all out for my transitions. Blew that freaking guy's head off of a silence pistol. You rarely get that animation with the pistol. See, it's easier with the pistol just to do the lock on, so you can at least get your shots to be going where they need to be, instead of having to free aim them.
So what's the
I don't know what I
process
did
right
there.
now? Oh, okay, you're switching.
What I was switching. I was like, I didn't know what I was thinking there. I was like, maybe I want to use a melee weapon. See, this is where I'm looking for the other silenced gun, but I threw the silenced gun away, so I'm just like, where's another gun I can pick up? So I pick up a shotgun. And then I realize, oh wait a second, it's this floor, I'd much rather use the melee weapon. So I pick up the dude's knife. Yeah, this is another stage where enemies can shoot you from where you least suspect it, because there's windows.
So how hard do you think it'd be to do a no-death run of this?
Very. You have to be on point. I just forget how brutal some of these death animations are, like that curb stomp there.
For 2D pixels, yeah.
But that, again, that's the style that they're going for. Also, sometimes enemies are deaf, and that enemy shouldn't have walked through that door.
Huh.
Yeah, I was frustrated because that enemy walked through the door and I got killed by random AI. Because that enemy's just supposed to keep following the other guy that he's with, instead of actually walking through the door. Still getting usage out of the knife throw. Again, enemies are just plain deaf where they can't hear gunshots and I get shot again. I swear this floor isn't that hard. It's just that you have to deal with a lot of. You have to deal with the fact that enemies are now looking through windows, and you have to deal with that. See, there's the knife not actually getting the kill. Hate when that happens.
So what do you think is the most difficult aspect of this game? So like they've added in windows, you know, dogs, big enemies. What's the hardest thing they came up with?
I still want to say it's big rooms, because big rooms are counterintuitive to what this game is all about. Like, because a room is so big, you have to deal with the fact that enemies are off screen, so you can't tell if there's all of these enemies up here in this part of the level, or if
oh crap,
they're in a further part of the level. Yeah, it's another boss. Basically, you gotta kill some small dudes, and then you gotta kill some big dudes. That's the reason why I picked up the shotgun. You also have to dodge those Molotovs, and if you stand where that fire is, you'll die instantly. You'll be lit on fire, and it's actually pretty terrible.
So, explain what has happened with that one dude in the dialogue, and he looked like he was yellow
that
when he
dude?
left.
That dude just shows up out of
dude.
nowhere. You're not explained. Yeah, you're not explained why he shows up. Like, he just shows up, and it's like, okay. Random boss. But that about does it for episode 2. We'll see you for episode 3.